and record your stuff. But man, Zoom is really, really good for doing one-on-ones. I've probably done, geez, maybe, what is today, Wednesday? I've done already 7 one-on-ones just this week. And I've started using it a lot. It's a lot easier to do. So I recommend, let me check out of there now. I recommend that you download Zoom and you go in and set you up an account. It's free. And start learning how to use the meetings and start learning how to interact with your customers doing one-on-one presentations. You can literally set up your slides and everything and show them for free in the meetings. The meetings only last 45 minutes. So keep your meetings to a half hour and then set up your Q&A and your follow-up, that way you don't run over time. If you purchase it with the webinar system, if you want to purchase the webinar system, it's like $50 a month. If you purchase it without the webinar system, it's like $30 a month or something like that. I can't remember, but very well worth the money. And learn to do remote presentations. I am finding that I'm building a good business and not actually going out to the locations. So, and we'll talk about that on another night, but get into Zoom, sign up for a free account, learn how to use it. Don't just sign up and let it sit there. And I think you'll do well with it. Real quick before we get started, talked to Woodrow yesterday. He's doing well. A lot of work. He's got a lot of work. Woodrow has 3 properties. Even the one in Georgia had some damage. He's also got his home and his mother's home in Florida. So he said he's missed a lot of calls. He wasn't not answering just to not answer, but he wasn't answering because he's extremely busy. He said he still has a few days of work left. And so, but if you didn't get him, let him. I just wanted you to know, and he wanted you to know that it wasn't because he was ignoring anybody. It's because he's extremely busy and trying to get everything cleaned up. A couple of his cars got damaged, and he's cleaning up his properties and his mom's property. So, but he's doing well, and it was good to hear his voice. And I know the people in Florida are still going through a tough time. I know Mark Tolson. I've seen him several times post in Instagram. I mean, water 4 foot up the walls and that kind of thing. So, and Mark, you're in the restoration business also, aren't you? Mark Tolson, don't you do restoration also? Just got me a big glass of sweet tea. Life is good. Yeah, I thought you were. I've seen some of your Instagram posts. But let's go ahead and get started real quick. Welcome to Wednesday night training. For those of you who have never been here, we want to welcome you on behalf of AppWizard Studio. We're here each and every Wednesday night, welcoming you to our training nights. And we do this every Wednesday unless it's a major holiday. So come out and see us. We also have the replays on YouTube. Kenny Dutton is so kind to do a timeline on them every week. There wasn't a replay last week. What we're going to do is we're going to start on a couple of things that we already did last week, but then I'm going to record what I didn't cover. So if you have not joined our Facebook group, join our Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/AWS Mastermind. It's a great place to be. A lot of great help in there, and it's really a family. It's really a family. And with that said, and I know everyone has, but just please remember all those in Las Vegas, all the first responders and the people who have lost their lives and those families. What a tragedy! There's not a time during the day that's happened that I hadn't sat here with tears just pouring down in my eyes, thinking about how tragic it would be to lose your children or your loved ones at a concert, But keep those folks in mind and keep them in your prayers. I saw the sheriff today, And man, he was just worn out during a press conference. So keep those folks in mind. And we've got some people out there. Man, as soon as it happened, I was on the phone texting and messaging, trying to get people to respond, and everybody that I knew was okay. And I hope that everybody you knew is fine also. Real quick, AppWizard Studio, nor I cannot guarantee just because you are watching training, you will make any sales, create any traffic, or increase your income. Every person is different, has different work ethics and different desires. And we are going to go right into the control panel again this evening. If I can get out of here and go into here. Oops. And I stopped sharing for just a moment. Let's see if we can't bring up the right screen. Right there. Okay, can everyone see my screen? You should be able to see the AppWizard screen. I actually flipped it to a different screen tonight. Can everybody see the AppWizard Studio screen? Am I on the right one? Did I lose everybody? No. Okay, thank you. That's all I need to know. Can you see that screen? Because I'm running it from a different screen tonight and a different computer. So make sure you got the screen and let me, oh, Lordy. All righty. So tonight we're going to go start in the settings area. There's a few things from last week that I'm going to record separately. But so that everything can be under one umbrella here, we're going to start with the settings again tonight and talk about the settings. First thing I want to talk about is the title and description. This was one of the most important things people missed last week that they were waiting to hear. So I know we'll have it on the recording tonight. The title here in the title and description is the title of your app. So you can see here it says Window Company, Window Company. If I go in here and change this to something and hit save, you can see that this changes this. Before, all we had in here was title and description. And we put the title used for search engine SEO and the description SEO. When we came out with the beacons, people were wanting to be able to actually put a tag for the beacons. So this is the tag that when you create your beacon, when you create your app, is the name of the app. Now, I can tell you when I first started with the beacons, I was putting my tags in there because that's what I had to do. And then I forgot what the tags were that went with the beacons. And I had a mess trying to find the actual beacons. So I recommend that you don't change that title. This is the title that is searched with the beacons right here. So, and this is 40 characters. Keep this at 40 characters and the description up to 150 characters. Now, what you're going to find is every single phone accepts XYZ characters. I've seen some phones where the nearby will give the entire 150 character message. I've seen some phones that only did about 40 or 50 characters. So, but it's just like a Google search, okay? The Eddystone system was set up by Google, and they use the title and the description exactly the same way it is when you set up an ad. About 40 characters in the title and 150 in the description. But if you don't see them all, don't think that other people won't be able to see them. Every phone is different, and every phone transmits differently. Now, with that said, I talked about iOS 11. Okay, the operating system for Apple change was coming to 11, and we were hoping that the changes for the beacons was in iOS 11. It was not. If you have not downloaded or upgraded to iOS, it's iOS 11.01. Let me recommend that you don't until the next 2 or 3 upgrades come out. iOS 11 is literally draining your battery dry. I used to go a day and a half with a battery, and I use my phone a lot. Now I have to charge it 3 times a day. They tell you to turn off all your background apps and all that. I can't find that working. I mean, literally, I charged my phone all the way 100% 2 hours ago, and it's at 50% right now. So if you don't have to download it or don't want to upgrade, don't. A bunch of the apps I had wasn't working properly, and I know that they were scrambling because I got a lot of updates today. So just a fair warning: if you don't need it, don't use it. But the title and description here are for your beacons purposes and also your SEO purposes. As I mentioned last week, I know Mike Cahill, he SEOs every single one of his apps. And the title here is for the title of the app itself. Just hit save and you're good to go. Home screen icon. They made a change in the phones maybe about a year ago on all the phones. Before, you had to put your rounded edges and everything on the icons. You don't need to do that anymore. The newer phones do it for you. So all I do is create a 120 by a 120 icon. Simply click upload, open up the icon, and throw it in. And that's all you have to do. A lot of people call and say, hey, Kerry, where do I get icons from? You can just search icon, whatever niche, and there is like a million of them for free online. I mean, all you will ever need of icons. I create a lot of my icons off of their logos, and that's the way that works. Any questions on icon or title and can't talk, title and description real quick? Any questions at all? Okay. Facebook share image. This is 1200 by 630. Probably the #1 call over the last, gosh, whenever we put that in, 3 or 4 years that I've had. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. This is all controlled by Facebook. This has absolutely nothing to do with the app at all. This takes you out of the app and it takes you into Facebook. So what you need to do is you need to put a 1200 by 630 image in there. And let me find one here. I just made one. And upload that. And there's the image. Now I'm going to try real quick. We'll see if this works. I'm going to end this screen share. Let me text this web app to me real quick. And I'm going to show you what usually happens. Of course, it'll probably work perfect. Let me send the app to myself. And I don't know if some of you guys know this. Maybe this is a good time to show this, where you could actually text the web app right from the control panel. And I'm going to text this web app directly to me. Now, if you want to change this up here, you can change that if you want. You can put anything in there you want. Just don't change the URL. And I'm going to hit send. And that's going to send it to my phone. That's how I send out all my apps to my customers directly from there. Let's go in here to settings. I just want to make sure I save that. Okay, I didn't save it, so let's upload it again. Oh, yes, I did. It looks like it's got an auto save in there. There's not a save button, so we're good to go. All right. Now I'm going to try to bring up my phone. Let me stop share. I'm going to go to share screen. I'm going to go to iPhone, share screen. Install. Give me 1 second here. I'm going to connect to AirPlay. Can everyone see my phone now? Can you see my actual phone being transmitted? Okay, cool. I'm going to go in and I'm going to open up. This is the new 11. You can see, man, this is all changed. I don't like it at all. We're going to open up that app. You can also see that put that picture as my icon right here. We're going to go to Facebook share. Okay, now what this does is it says use Facebook app or log in to share. Okay, so we're going to say share with your Facebook app. They used to not do that. It only used to take you to the web version. So we're going to go to Facebook. And it says say something about this. And you can see the image that I uploaded there on the right. I'm going to hit post. It says it's shared. Now let's come over to my page. Oops, shoot. Sorry about that. See the image there? There's the name of the app. Click here to call us is the next title. Okay, I mean in the description. So when you post these, you want to make sure that your text is right and everything is right. Obviously, I just put a test on here. And by the end of the night, everybody will be saying, yeah, Kerry, it works. But that's the way it works, okay? Now, I'm going to tell you something. And you're going to say, well, Dave, what do we use it for? This could change tomorrow and then change back on Friday. Why it does that, I don't know. Facebook makes small changes to test things, and I think they do it live. So, but you can see it puts a nice image up there that I uploaded, and it's working fine. I've been testing it over the last week or so, and it's been doing fine. So, but also notice you did what? You came out of the app, okay? You are physically in Facebook. What most people have problems with is they're like, well, I can't get back. Does everybody know that person right there? That's Christy Brown. She's going to kill me for doing that. Okay, so I can go back to Safari, but look here, I'm still in Facebook. When people see this, they freak out and they cannot figure out how to get back to your app. If you'll just simply push the back button, it will take you back to your app. Okay, there's nothing we can do about that. It's not framed in your app. It's a live transfer to Facebook. Okay, does everybody understand that? Does everybody get what I did there? I want to make sure, because this is a huge question weekly on that. Okay, let me come up here. I'm going to kill this screen. Yes, if the image doesn't come up, it's still shared. It's always shared. But where people freak out is when they click on Facebook, now they're out of the app. And it's like, what do I do? You know, what do I do? And you can see right here, you either have to log in. When you log in from this page, this took you to the web version. Okay, this took you to the HTML5 mobile web app for Facebook. They have an app, a native app, and they have the mobile web app. This just happened within the last 2 months, maybe 3 months, where they allow you to actually, if you've got the app downloaded on your phone, to share with the app. And then it says, okay, open in Facebook, open. All right. Now we're actually in the app, your Facebook app. And in order to have a Facebook app, you have to have a what? A Facebook page. In order to share to Facebook, you have to have a login and a password. You have to have a profile page. Okay. If you don't, you can't share it. All right. So, and you can see it again. I'm not going to go through the same thing, but good question. Good question. Anybody else have a question on that before I get out? Yeah. Like YouTube. YouTube changes every single week. Okay, let me go back in here and share this screen. All right, we're back on the we are back in the platform. Okay, let's go ahead and we went over a header last week, and that's where we stopped. So I'm gonna go ahead and go over a header again, just briefly. Couple of important things. Even after we had training last week, I want to make sure that everybody understands. I had a few calls after training. Okay, the images, and if you would please write this down. 500 wide. They need to be 500 pixels wide. So when you're setting up your, now you can make it 1,000 pixels wide, okay, as long as it's divisible by 5. All right, does everybody understand that? So you could have a 1,500 pixel, you could have a 2,000 pixel, you could have a 2,500 pixel, but as long as it brings it down and it's 500, because this is going to bring it down to 500 wide. If you do a 300 pixels, it's going to stretch your image and it's going to look terrible. All right. 99.9% of the calls that we receive is they did not make the image correctly. Height doesn't matter. You can see here that there's 2 separate images in here, and I put 2 separate images that are 2 separate sizes. Height doesn't matter as long as it's 500 wide. Sometimes I do a 500 by 200, 500 by 150. Okay. Now, if you put 2 images in here, it's extremely important. If you don't want to get this bare spot down here on the bottom, if you don't want to see that, you have to make the height and the width exactly the same on both images. PNG files, transparent files, will not be transparent if you use multiple images. When you come in and set this up, you can say, I want the images on all pages, only the home page, only sub pages, or none. Okay. This is the home page. Any other page down here that you click on would be a sub page. So if you only want it on the sub pages, then it would only be on the sub pages. If you only want it on the home page, it's only on the home page, or you can turn it completely off. Depending on what the app is I'm building, sometimes I do not put them on the sub pages. I only put it on the home pages. This transition that you're seeing here, there is multiple transitions right here. And this is a great way to give it a GIF effect, a GIF. Some people call it GIF. I call it GIF. But whatever you call it, this is a great way to give it a nice motion effect. Your customers absolutely love it, okay? We charge $49 to do that, all right? So, and nobody, when people ask about two cards, for 49 bucks, they have no problem paying that, especially when they see that transition. That's a big seller, and it works great. One of the biggest questions I get is, Kerry, how many cards should we put on here? Now, this is what I want you to think about. This is set to change every 2 seconds. And I know you guys can pretty much see this live as it happens without any diminish of transmission. 2 seconds is a long time. Okay, I set all mine at 2 seconds. If I had 3 cards there, it would take 6 seconds to come to the first. If I had 4 cards there, it would take 8 seconds. Anything over about 6 to 8 seconds is way too long. People are not going to, you're not going to see those cards because people are going to be off of that page or out of that app before they ever see. So if you're selling these as advertisements, maybe it's a baseball app or something like that, or a community app, I wouldn't go over 3 or 4. Now you can bring it down to 1 second. 1 second is still a very long time. I mean, you can run them for 1 second and maybe run 3 or 4, maybe 5, but try to keep it down to about 4 to 5. And I like running it at 2 seconds because that gives the card plenty of time to be seen. Okay. Any questions on this at all? Any questions on the cards at all? If you don't have 2 images in here, you will not see the transition. You can do autoplay or no. If it's on no, what will happen is when you move them, it just slides. Okay? It just slides. We want it on the motion boxes, so it's going to motionify. All right? Yeah, people's attention spans are short, man. They don't have time. They don't have time to do that. Absolutely. The tab bar. Let's start with the title bar first, since it's up here. Same thing. You can hide it. You can put it only on sub pages, only on home page, or all pages. We'll go ahead and put it on all pages. Now you can see here you've got a left button and a right button. You can make these whatever you want. Okay, whatever you want these to be, you can make them. You can change them any way you want them. All right. You can also come up. You can just have icons. Okay, just icons. This text right here is the same text that you named your app, hence the title bar. All right. And you can change these colors when we get down to the colors. I'm going to leave this just like it is so you can see that. Some people use this, some people don't. I can maybe think of 2 times out of thousands that I've used that. Okay. The tab bar. This is my go-to bar right here. This is your tab bar. The tab bar runs completely across the app. If I remove something, it removes it and it stretches everything out. If I remove it again, it removes and I stretch everything out. This will go completely across the top of the app. And if you'll notice here, when I add new, it just shrinks it back down. Oops, I don't remember what the other one was. Doesn't really matter. I think it was Ratus. Okay, and now you can move these around. You got call us, email us, V card if you want to move the V card there, the Facebook there. One thing I do, this is just preference. I always take the Facebook off. It's got the Facebook symbol and it says share. People know what that is. And the reason I do that is to keep that from, you saw the dots. That means that there's more text there. Okay, now they can see everything. The same thing will happen if you put too many buttons on there. The first thing to do is kind of start reducing your text a little bit. So we know to call, you don't have to say call us. You can take off the us right here. And now that gives you a little bit more room. You can take the rate us off and just put rate. And now when you add another button, put the tire shop down there. Now see what happened? Now I've got way too many buttons. So now I've got 6 buttons right there. All right. It's not going to let me put any more in there. I think it's nice and clean. That's why I use it. The button bar. I use the button bar a lot. Okay. On the button bar, what I like to do with it is, and I don't, yes, there's a coupon in here. I like to use it for coupons. I remove this. I remove this. Okay, it's shown as none. Let's turn it on, and I'm going to only put it on the home page. It says coupon. What I like to do is put a nice call to action on here and move it all the way to the top. All right. And when I put it on the top, I don't have a title bar there, but you can see it's a great thing to do. It's a great way to highlight a button. You can change the call to action right here. Click here for coupons. All right. And I'll show you how to make that pop out here in just a minute. Any questions at all on the header bar? On the image, the tab bar, the title bar, the button bar? Any questions at all? Tire shop, I don't know. It was just something I put in there when I built this, when I was messing with this app. I mean, it doesn't, it's just a button. I mean, this app isn't a real live app, so just for training. I would probably never have that on my app where it just said tire shop. I was probably showing somebody something. The footer bar is exactly the same, except it's on the footer. It is set up the same. There is no image, but you can put a button bar. You can put a title bar. And you can also move these around. What I use on the bottom of mine, I don't use a title bar. I'm going to turn this off just so I don't clutter up the app. And I very seldom put a tab bar on the bottom. I'm sorry. I always put a tab bar on the bottom, but I do it only on sub pages. I'm going to leave it on home page just so we can see on the next training. Button bars, I don't ever use that. You can, just not my preference. And I usually have home and previous page on there, okay? And you can do the same thing. Icon, where do you want it? Right, left, top, bottom. You can see if you put it on the left, on the right. Oops, I'm on the button bar. Hang on a second. Tab bar. Top, left, right. I like them on the left. I either put them on the left or the top. All right. I recommend that you go in and you play with this. Set you up an app just like I've got right here. Okay. Set you up an app and just play with it. Mess with it. Have a good time with it. You're not going to tear it up. And when you get done with it, delete it. But that way you can go in and play with these and see exactly what they do. Move them around and see what we've got some of the most creative minds I've ever seen that build apps. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. The apps that people build are absolutely phenomenal. They learned how to do that by going in and just moving stuff around and saying, wow, that looks really good right there. And setting stuff up, man, that looks really good right there. And so they get into a habit, and then they get their brand going. Okay, you can look at I can promise you, you can look at my apps and you will know they're my apps. You can look at Michael Cahill's apps and know they're Michael Cahill's apps. Everybody's got their own little special niche about them. Okay, or not niche, but a special way about them, that when they build their apps, and then when you see them in the groups, you say, wow, yeah, that's one of Michael's apps. That's one of Kerry's apps. That's one of Vic's apps. And it's kind of like your brand. You've got your signature on that app. Okay. Slide menu, the most misunderstood piece of this app. The slide menu is absolutely wonderful if you're using a full-blown app. Okay. Slide menu settings, right side, left side. If it's on the left side, that means it comes from where? The left side. Overlay, it overlays the app. Push, it pushes the app over. Did you see this move right here? I want you to watch that again. This is going to move the app completely over. It pushes the app out of the way. On overlay, it comes on top of the app. You don't see that move. Okay? Very simple there. And I like mine on the right side. You reload that. I always put mine on the right side, and I just leave it on overlay. I don't change that. The slide menu links. Now, these are all the links that we've added. Every time you add a link, it adds it to the slide menu. So this is everything we've done over the last 3 weeks of training. This is all the things that we've made. Okay, there's Tire Shop. You can go in and turn these off just like you can anything else. You can also move these around. Let's move that. Let's see here. We'll move message board up. You see message board moving up there? Now, what I do on a directory is on the menu, because everything's in the menu. This is where you put everything in alphabetical order, okay? So the call would go up here, and then the contact us, and then the email, okay? And you can drag these and put these in alphabetical order when you're building out your directory. This is where you do that from, all right? Now, when they open it up, they can see everything's in alphabetical order. Now, when you're building this, just as a menu, and you don't need call us in there. Why? Because that's on the front page. You don't need contact us in there. Why? Because it's on the front page. You may want to keep coupon on there. All right. Email us. You don't want that on there because it's on the front page. Join our list. You may want to put that on there. Share web app. That's on the front page. You don't want to bunch this up. You don't. Let me just put it bluntly. You don't want it to look like crap. And you don't want them to have to scroll 47 miles to try to find something. So anything that's already visible, okay, on the front of your app, okay, the things that are visible. And the whole reason for the menu bar is so that you can keep your pertinent data above the fold. This is the fold right here on a phone, above the fold on the main screen. The menu is to take care of everything else. And trust me, people know what those little dots mean. They understand that means menus. We've been using mobile web apps long enough, and we've been using menus long enough that people know when they see that, all they got to do is touch that, and something's going to drop down. In our case, it's going to slide out. Okay? V-card. So take all this stuff off. You may want to leave message board. Tire Shop, ain't got a clue what that is. Call me, we'll take that off. Text me, we'll take it off. And see how this is starting to really clean this up? You may want to leave your order form on there. All right? Most apps aren't going to have every single bit of this on there. But clean it up so it's easy to maneuver and it's an actual menu. I've never had this many buttons on an app in my life. Okay. Now you've got a nice menu here. Everything's on the phone. They can see it. Everything pertinent. All right. Everything pertinent. People are not going to spend hours in your apps, unlike we wish they would. Okay. This is for rapid dissemination of information when people need it right now. That's what these mobile web apps are for. It's not like Facebook that they're going to sit there and lay in bed all night and twiddle on Facebook and do all that. All right. Any questions on the menus? Matter of fact, it says links are automatically added to this menu when you add content to your web app. Automatically. You don't have to do anything else. That does it automatically. Set up your settings. Turn off what you don't want. Put in alphabetical order, whatever you do want. And your menu is good to go. This is a very, very good tool to help you create good-looking web apps. Okay? An excellent tool. You can color code this to match the app, and we're going to do that here in just a minute, maybe tonight, maybe not. Okay? App search. Somebody posted in the group the other day, and I didn't follow up or find out if Mark had checked it or not, that sometimes the search searched correctly and sometimes it didn't. This actually goes in and it searches titles. I don't think it searches descriptions, and it doesn't search down into the pages. Okay, but I know for a fact it searches for titles. So if you've got a menu and you type in menu, it's going to find a menu. Okay, so let's go back here to the menu real quick. And let me just find something here that's the title. Okay, we'll search for coupon. So let's go to app search, and you've got to enable it. We're going to go to preview. We'll see if it works right now. Okay, there's your search bar. And click here for coupons. Okay, so it found a coupon. That was the title of the bar. It found it. Let's see if it'll search for the menu. I know there's a menu in there. Menu, no results. Let's see what that's actually called. See, that didn't find that. Even though menu is in the title there, it didn't find menu. So maybe that's what the person was talking about. That should have pulled that up. Let's see if it'll pull up restaurant. If I can spell restaurant. And it pulled up no results for the restaurant. So I'll talk to Mark about that tomorrow and see if he can tweak that a little bit and see why that's not pulling that stuff up. We saw it pull up coupon, and we saw the long title on the coupon. Does anybody else use this? Does anybody use this? Does anybody remember who posted in the group? It's a great tool. Would be a very, very good tool, and I'll get Mark to check on that. Okay? Michael, did you get a response back on that, Michael? I remember now. Yes, I remember now. It was you. I'll ask him about that tomorrow also. Okay, awesome. And it could be because I'm searching on a computer also and not my phone. Matter of fact, let me, while I'm sitting here, I will check that real quick. It didn't on my phone either. So I'm going to have him take a look at that tomorrow. Yeah, maybe that's why. Maybe because I turned it off. Let's see. Let's see if that has anything to do with it. Maybe because I turned it completely off. And I know it's off on the front page also. Now let's try it. Good eye there, Dennis. Let's see if that has to do with it. Maybe we'll figure this out. We won't even have to ask Mark. Yeah, maybe if it's completely, see, because I've got that turned off in the back also. No, still didn't come up. Let me see if it's because I've got it turned off in the back. Hang on just 1 second. We're fixing to find this out. Of course, I may not want that on my home page. And there it is. Okay, so this is what I'll talk to Mark about, because I don't want the menu on my home page. Okay, but I can turn it on my slider, and I may not be using a slider. So what has to happen is it still has to search for pages that are turned off, and I don't know if he can do that or not, but I can tell you we just solved the mystery. And thank you guys. Now we know why. If it's not working, you'll know that you've got it turned off. Okay, and I'll get with him to see if even if it's turned off, we can still search for that because it's still in the app. And I'll see if he can do that. If not, not. And that may be why he has it. That may be why he has it turned off. Yeah, see, like I have customers that don't want them to see their text coupons. The special coupons that go out. I've got customers that don't want people to know about those specials because those specials are for people that text. So if you type in coupons, guess what? You're going to see those special coupons. Of course, you could set up text coupons and you could set up coupons for your regular customers. So, okay. Well, we know why that does that and why it doesn't. I'll tell you what, we'll put a little poll up and we'll see what everybody wants. But that is a good point, Dennis. Very, very good point. But now we know why it doesn't work when it doesn't work, because it's turned off. Page transitions. This is I've never used this at all. Okay, never used it. I've tried it. I don't use it. What the page transition does is it's when you change pages. Oops, can't do that. Let me bring this down a little bit. See how it fades in? And you can set this to do anything you want it to do. You can set it to slide down. See how it slides down? Now that looks like it just did the same thing, right? But it actually slid from the top. So use it at your discretion. Maybe, maybe not. But that's what a page transition is. It's the same thing as the transitions on the menus, except it's a lot faster. Some phones, it doesn't work at all. So if you got it turned on, you say, well, this don't even work. It works. It's just not working on that particular phone. All right. Any questions at all? No, that doesn't just have any. That has to do with SEO. Period. Has nothing to do with only on smartphones. You can SEO these, and these will show up on Google. They absolutely will. No, SEO is SEO. These are mobile web apps. Okay, they're mobile web apps. They're not a native app. So if you SEO these will come up in the search engine. They absolutely will. Especially if you go in and you do in your content, if you're doing good content pages, and you can do content pages and they still be there. Okay, maybe this is where you put a blog post or something, or something like that. You turn your menu into a blog post or something, and you go in and you put nice content in there. It's going to search that. It's going to crawl that web app. And if you want to make sure all your keywords and everything are in your post, okay, you just basically use a page, make it keyword rich, all right, and put your pertinent information in here. Make sure your title is keyword rich, and it will crawl these pages. And once again, I think it was Michael Cahill that actually had some of these on showing on Google. He SEOs his app. It's not just for mobile; it's for the web. All right. Styles and colors. Okay, we got about 7 minutes left. We're not going to go through all the styles and colors. I'm just going to give you a brief overview of this, and this will probably take up the majority along with the last two things on next week's training. That last three things, okay? This is a big one. This is where most people have trouble. You shouldn't, like everything else we talk about, go in and play with this. Don't be afraid to play with this. Okay, simple is just that. Header and footer background. Okay, that's the background, header and footer text. Buttons background, we don't have buttons. Okay. Buttons text. So everybody seeing everything changing up here? App background. I mean, you can literally, with these 6 buttons, set up and color your apps, all right? You can go into advanced. This is where you do each individual section by itself. Change the transparency, but we're going to go through all of this next week, every bit of this, step by step. Premade, you can literally go in here and select whatever templates you want for your buttons. When I first started building apps in 2.0, yes, you do. Absolutely, Will Sibbs. And I forget. When I first started building apps, this was my go-to right here. This right here was my go-to. And that's all I used. When I first built apps, that's all I used. And then I started branching out a little bit. I never did like these buttons right here, but I used that, and then I come up, and lo and behold, I started using this. And I used it exactly the way it was, okay? Exactly the way it was. And then I started learning that I could change the colors, and then I started learning that I could change the diameters of the circles, and then I mean, there was so much I learned just from setting up these templates and going in and making the changes. But you could use these templates right here. I'm going to select that template. And I can use that template right there and go in and make a couple of color changes. And I have created a really nice looking app. You don't have to be a buttonologist to be able to do that. Now, you will become one, I promise you, because you're going to start coming out here saying, gosh, man, let me see here. Main links. What is this going to do? Spacing width. Looky there. I can change the width of those buttons. Now, let me tell you something about let me tell you something about the spacing width. The spacing width on some phones mean absolutely nothing. Okay? Your buttons are going to go all the way across. On some phones, you can set the spacing width and you'll see the difference. Spacing height. Oh gosh, look, I can put some height and depth into this. Border sizes, same thing. That's how I started learning 2.0. The first thing I did was I came up and I went to the Premades. And it was the best thing that I ever did, because this allowed me to pick out stuff and start building 2.0 apps for my customers. The minute I changed, sales increased almost 50%. Just from the looks of the apps alone. Okay. Now, most of you don't have the old 1.0 apps. So, which is a good thing. You don't get bad habits. All right. But you can come in, you can select these, and you say, wow, that's good looking. Now, all I got to do is put a background back there. You know, and believe it or not, I've seen people's apps look just like this. But they go in and they match up the colors and they look really good. They look really, really good. And you do every bit of that from right here under styles and colors. We're going to go through this color codes. If I like a color code from another app, I can pull over the color code from that app, load it in here, and bam, I can load those colors right into this app. Let's just put a number in here. 752F. Let's see if that's an actual app. It was. And look, that app looks like that right there. Okay, whoever built that app, that's their app right there. See how it changed the buttons and everything? This was their colors. All right. So you can go in and you can pull colors off of apps you've already created. And I'm going to leave this all jumped up like this, and then we'll go in next week and I'll show you. Okay. Home screen triangle. Background. You can change the background. You can come in and put a background image in. You can put your own images in there. You can upload your own images. You can go in and find tiled images and really make these apps amazing. I mean, you're really missing out if you're not going in and really learning all the tools for these apps. I've used this background a couple of times for car dealerships. So, any questions? Yeah, buttonologist. Colorzilla, you simply click on it. Page color picker, active. Now this is set at a 5x5. You pull a little more color in. I usually do it at a 3x3. When you click on this, it automatically saves the color. Now let me find out where I'm at right here. Well, let me pick a color that's not that color, because all the buttons are that color now. Let me go in here. I'm going to pick up this yellow color right here. Can you guys see the Colorzilla at the top of my control panel? Can y'all actually see that? The black bar? Okay. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to pull this blue off right here, because that's the happens to be. When I click on that, it says colored copied. Okay. Color copied. So I'm going to go to my header. That's a button bar. I'm going to come in here. The background color is green right now. I'm going to click on these three little lines right here. Okay. I'm going to highlight that whole thing and I'm going to paste it in there. And it changed my color. Just that simple. And we're going to go through all that next week. with that right there, you should be able to change the color of anything. The higher, when you open this up, yes. And that's what most people do, is miss those 3 lines. You can go 11 by 11, 20. Now, this is pixels, okay? That's 3 pixels by 3 pixels. 5 pixels by 5 pixels, 11 by 11, 25 by 25. Selection range, you can do whatever you want to do there. You can come out and say, and you can see how that changes when it picks up the white. Now watch when it picks up the gray. I mean, you can get whatever you want there. And sometimes a color is 6 or 7 pixels of different colors. And that's why I use 3 by 3. I get it as close as I possibly can. Okay? Any questions? We're going to stop it right there. Yeah, play around with it. That's what I recommend you do. Play around with it. It's kind of like getting a new toy when you was a kid, man. You didn't know how it worked, but boy, you sure did break it down, tear it apart until you figured it out. Same thing. Any questions? We're going to shut it off there. We are going to start with, we're going to go through the entire step-by-step, every single button in the color, styles and colors next week. If no questions, thank you very much. Everybody have a great evening. I'm fixing to go eat me some fried chicken, and I will be a happy camper. So God bless, and I will see you all in the Facebook group. And this did record, and Kenny Dutton is in the middle of a huge storm right now, but he will get this done. Good night, everybody.